former Nigerian Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick has expressed support for the appointment of Malian Frenchman Eric Chelle as head coach of the Super Eagles, despite mixed reactions from Nigerians. Pinnick criticized those opposing Charles' appointment for focusing on his race rather than his qualifications. He emphasized that Charles has an impressive coaching record, noting that during his tenure with Mali, the team's performance was consistently strong, with 14 wins, 4 draws, and only 3 losses out of 22 games. Pinnick pointed out that Charles' offensive coaching style aligns with Nigeria's traditional approach, making him well suited for the role. For a discussion about this latest appointment of a head coach for the Nigerian male football team Super Eagles, I'm now being joined by the president of the International Sports Press Association, AIPS Africa, and executive vice chairman, Master Sports International Limited, Mitchel Obi. Mr. Mitchel Obi, thank you very much for joining us on This Day Live. Hello, Mr. Mitchel Obi.
A happy Sunday to you, Dr. Ruben. Indeed, this is a new year showing on your show, and my delight to look at an issue that perhaps has divided the sporting landscape for those who have an attachment to the most passionate endeavor in Nigeria, which is football.
Oh, yes, well, Happy New Year, Mitchel Obi. But very quickly, the appointment of a Malian, Eric Sekou Chelle, as a coach of the Super Eagles, head coach, is this an insult to Nigerians? Because some Nigerians say this is an insult. If you are going to appoint a non-African, a non-Nigerian African as a coach of the Super Eagles, why not a Nigerian? Why somebody from Mali when we have, more capable arms, they say, here in Nigeria? So is it an insult to Nigerians?
It is not the first time we'll be insulted. It is perhaps a measure of the kind of leadership we've had in Nigerian football over time. Indeed, in the last decade, there's been a decay in the quality of vision for what we want our game to look like. And that speaks a lot to how we have come to this point where we don't even look at ourselves anymore. We have ignored what we have. We don't even want to assess what we can give or what we can do. And even for a gamble, we are not ready even to gamble with our own. And that is perhaps where the insult will find some kind of presence. To think that in Nigeria, we have a coach who picked a bronze medal in 2006 in AFCON, and we have a Nigerian coach who has won the AFCON and as well going to represent us in the World Cup. Indeed, the best record any coach can boast of in the country, presented by a Nigerian. And in 2025, at a time when the president of this country decided to bring back the National Sports Commission with a clear mandate, telling them to go and enable a sports economy. And to think, more than anything else, the message from the Sports Commission itself, the mantra is very clear, that they are committed to building a stronger and a more inclusive sporting economy that will showcase the best of Nigeria's potential. And if you go to our neighbors to pick a coach who 2 years ago was handling a 3rd division club side, whose only attainment is that he came close to winning a quarter-final game, and more than anything else that he's foreign-based, you begin to ask yourself, how does the mantra of the president, as fashioned by the Sports Commission leadership, as well as even the NFF, align with the new thinking? There is total dissonance, if you ask me. And to think that football, the Super Eagles, represents the showpiece of our sporting architecture. Indeed, they have said that the Super Eagles is the best sporting brand we have in Nigeria, to think that that showpiece is being abused in this direction says a lot. But that has nothing to do with the fact that those who were elected to make a choice have decided to go for Eric Sekou. Indeed, I am excited that they have the courage to gamble in this direction with a coach who is yet to be tested in terms of holding a trophy or in terms of even getting to where it matters in the game. For me, that represents how to assess the Nigerian Football Federation dispensation for now. They have decided to sink and swim. And the latest message coming in is that the man represents the new thinking, the fresh energy, and the positive attitude of the way they want to go. Perhaps we have to surrender to their choice and see how far they can go. But for me, it remains a gamble. And even at a gamble, you need to be very careful, and you start gambling with certainty. But this is a case of a cliff-hanging situation where Nigerians are concerned, Ruben.
Okay, on the record, we're told that Sekou has won 5 caps for Mali. And he took Mali to the African Cup of Nations. He's the coach of MC Oran, right, in Algeria. And we're told, well, he got to MC Oran, I think, after leaving the Malian team in June 2024. He got there in October 2024. And this weekend is leading them to, a match in the Algerian Cup tournament. So, in other words, they say
he had his last match recently.
Yes. So they say it's not as if he's new to the game, and what goes for him is that he understands the dynamics of African football. It's not as if he's just one of those DHL-denominated coaches who don't understand African football. Is there something to be said in his defense in that regard? That he probably understands African football, and he may well, be suitable for the job.
To be sure, Sekou is an ambitious man who is ready to take a risk. Very few coaches in this fair will want to go for a World Cup campaign that is already compromised. He needs at least 4 wins or 2 draws, and some will say he needs at least 6 wins. And that's the number of matches that we have to pick a ticket to United States, Canada, and Mexico. But here is a man coming from another country where he compromised their World Cup qualification. He was beaten by Ghana as coach of Mali in a World Cup game in Bamako. And of course, playing against 10 men versus Madagascar, he played a draw. And that didn't put Mali in a comfortable position in that group. That was why perhaps the Malians were not excited. But more than anything else is the fact that here is a young man who respects players and demands respect also from players, and is very firm when it comes to management of his team. And of course, he has a playing style. You cannot take away that from him, from the glimpses of the Eagles of Mali we saw at the Nations Cup. Yes, football-wise, perhaps he's a young man with a good football brain, but Nigerian football is a different kettle of fish. We have an abundance of talents who are celebrated. But of course, even with the glut of celebrated talents, we don't really get to play to our full strength. And we need a coach in that regard who can manage our stars. And that's why people say we need a world-class coach, but not this time. The times are perilous. They are dangerous times. Indeed, we are on a cliffhanger. What it means is that the first game against Rwanda in March, we have to win that game for him even to be comfortable and for him to have a settled mind to start the journey effectively. And then we'll be home to Zimbabwe. That we can take. But any loss in the course of the 6 matches, I think Sekou can be content with the $55,000 we are told he'll be receiving every month, as well as what they will pay his 2 assistants. But there is another dimension, Ruben. It's the case of the home-based Eagles, who on February 1st will start their campaign for the CHAN. The prize money for CHAN has been elevated. It's almost close to the AFCON. And many people believe that this is one competition Nigeria can make her mark, at least set the tone for how we can revitalize our game. And so they say Sekou Shell will be the one to lead the team. Going by the choice words of the NFF chairman, Ibrahim Guzo, in his sermon, the New Year sermon, he said any Super Eagles coach will have the luxury of handling the CHAN. In that regard, he will not deny having home-based players in his team because he will be responsible for preparing a home-based team. And in that regard, we can look towards having some home-based players in our AFCON campaign later in December. So a good one. For me, that is a very smart move. But then what happens to the coaches who have worked so hard to get us a ticket after missing 2 editions of CHAN? Where are they going to be situated? On Monday, effectively, we'll see the direction of where they want to put those coaches and how Eric Chell will show us exactly what he has to offer Nigerians. For now, we just have to say, even from a pile of rubbish, you can find a pearl.
Okay, you talked about football style. Eric Chell prefers a 4-3-1-2 formation style, which emphasizes midfield dominance, and that's not our style of play. If he adopts a 4-3-1-2 style, it means we would probably have in front maybe Victor Osimhen and Victor Boniface, and this will be a new style. Our wingers will be at a disadvantage, more or less. How do you think that will work for the Nigerian accustomed style of play? Or you think our players can easily adapt to his own style of play? Because you say, well, football style is important.
I pity the Nigerian players we've had over time, especially the players who went to the Nations Cup, because they have been going through different philosophies of the game. We started with German, French, under Genaro. We had a Portuguese flow from Peseiro. And then we came back home with Finidi, who we thought understood how we have to play our game because he was part of that dream team that made their mark in the 90s. Of course, after Finidi, we still stayed at Guavon, who gave us a glimpse of how we should play or how we need to play. And then from Guavon, we are back now to a Franco-Malian with an Ivorian father who understands the fact that Nigeria is one of the powerhouses of the game in the continent and globally. And he's excited. He says nobody denies the opportunity of handling a Nigerian national team because it's a thing of pride to work with the kind of players we have. Let's see whether he will bring back our expressive approach. Ruben, you've talked about 4-2, 4-2, 4-3. They are all corruptions of formation.
Yes.
Some people will tell you it's not the formation that plays. Yeah, 3-1-2. Some people will tell you that in football today, it's not all about formation. It's about information. What you have to put to the formation and how you adjust your formation to the tide of the game. And so people, good coaches these days will tell you about the information. So if you stay with the old school of formation, that may be too rigid. But let's not get into technicalities of the game. I am not a coach. I don't pretend to be one. But my experience over time has told me that if you allow the wings of Nigeria to be fully alive, like eagles, they will fly. And now we have strikers who can convert balls from the wing. So let's see how that will pan off. I think Chell has a chance to pay off in this gamble. And if he gets it right, he will be the enduring star that Nigerian perhaps will want to stay with. He's young, he's 47. He has a long way to go. If he gives us a World Cup ticket, as an African, I'll be glad that we have an African who can come to a rescue of a big brother at a time that it matters. But for Nigerian coaches, perhaps they have to ask themselves the question, where did you get it wrong that the leadership of our football cannot find something to treasure in their presence, even though we have those who have helped us to get an AFCON ticket, all being Nigerian. And if we are going to gamble, why don't we gamble with our own, where we put the money, we put the support, we get the presidential support, which I'm told is coming. We get it full scale for Nigeria. So at the end of the day, when we are going to America, we are going with an all-Nigerian setup. And that is a deeper joy. It tells us where we are in the game, Ruben.
Okay, we're told that Shell is coming with his own team, about 3 persons, goalkeeper, trainer, strategists, and all of that. And all of them are going to earn that $50,000 package that is being offered. Do you think that the NFF is really prepared not to give us stories about accommodation, about non-payment of allowances, about non-payment of salaries, which would then become, the habitual thing that we have always dealt with Nigerian Football Administration? Do you think that there's any guarantee that the story will not be the same this time around?
No, the story won't be the same. I think the difference is very clear. You have to give it to this administration. They've been very fair in managing the welfare of the players, even though they are owing the players. We know that in Uyo, in their last game against Rwanda, who came to beat us, the players almost did not play that game, but for the intervention of the new helmsman in the Sports Commission. Of course, we are also told that there is a presidential support billion coming, and that's from where they will even pay the foreign cast, the cast of Shell and his assistant, and that's where they will also pay the players, and that's also where they will mobilize the players. That nothing material will stop them from going out there to deliver. Good enough, they've contacted the captain of the team. I'm told that initially he was not contacted, but he has spoken with the new coach. The boys perhaps are expected to get into the mood, but it depends on the players. On a good day, if our players want to play this game, they will deliver. But 6 matches against 6, if you ask me, in Africa, there is a football logic which you can never really follow. It changes with the tide.
Okay, very quickly. Eric Chell has been given 2 specific assignments: to take the Super Eagles Team B to the Chan in Eastern Central Africa,
yes,
and win it, possibly.
East Africa.
Yes, East Africa. And second, to qualify for Nigeria, the Super Eagles, for the 2026 World Cup. At the moment, we're 5th on the log in Group C. Do you think that he can deliver on both accounts? Because it looks like a difficult task to get to that World Cup. And if he doesn't deliver, what happens? He himself, having acquired a recent reputation as a peripatetic, coach. So are we going to have a situation whereby, he leaves the Aiglons of Mali, as they call them, Eagles of Mali, in June? He goes to...
Les Aigles.
Okay.
The Eagles, Les Aigles.
Yeah, he goes to...
Les Aigles de Mali.
Yeah, he goes to...
First,
and okay,
let me say here...
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me say here that if he delivers the Chan Trophy, I'll be the first to surrender to the fact that he should carry on. And I will say, courage, brother, do not stumble. Even though the World Cup ticket may be dark as night, blessed stars will guide you through. That will be perhaps my song for him, if he can get to deliver the Chan Trophy. But he will need all the support of the home-based coaches who have done the homework. But that's the starting point. It will give us a picture of how he wants to play. And good enough, the Nigerian league is on break. So the players in camp will not be thinking about their clubs as they are in camp. They have sufficient time to stay in camp till the 1st of February, and then they go for battle in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. The draws will be held on the 15th, and that will tell us how we want to progress. For me, that is a starting point to see his body language, see his commitment. And I think for somebody who has decided to come to Nigeria to make his mark, just like we have had so many Nigerian players go outside to make their mark as coaches, the likes of Keshi of blessed memory, the likes of Amunike in Tanzania, name them. We have so many coaches who have held their own. Even Shuaibu Amodi of blessed memory was in South Africa, handled some of the biggest club sides there. And so it's a good experience, but then I will always insist, if we want to gamble, we gamble with our own, put all the resources at the disposal of our own. That way, there will be a deeper joy. Come to think of it, if Chel cannot make it even after the first game, if we lose the first game against Rwanda, what will you say to those who brought him? But let's not get into the negative. I want to be positive because America is a dream place for our national team. That is where our boys excelled in 1994. If we go back there, it will perhaps ring a good line for those who like comparative analysis.
Okay, while we're still on this subject, we know that the NFF said he will report for duty immediately. But we also hear that the Algerian FA has refused so far to release him, or rather, if you like, MC Oran, the managers of the club, MC Oran, because he has a match today, AS Satif, against AS Satif, and he traveled with them on Thursday. So he still has obligations to MC Oran in Algeria. Is that something that we have to worry about? You know, as of today, after the announcement that he will resume immediately, that is not yet here. When are they going to unveil him? Suppose something happens and the
on Monday,
the deal doesn't fall
on
through.
Monday, I think he's coming in. He's coming in on Monday.
You are very sure about that?
He's coming in on Monday. Now, the president of Nigerian Football Federation told the media that he's expected to be unveiled on Monday. As per his contract with MC Oran, there is an exit clause for him, so there is little cause for anxiety in that direction. So I don't think, and in his last match, he told the players and the team that this is his last game and he's bound for Nigeria. There must be a measure of understanding. Nobody sees the national team job of the Super Eagles and wants to stay with MC Oran. A team that won a Continental Cup almost 20 or 30 years ago. So the exit clause is there in his contract. And I think he will be here on Monday. Let's wait for him. He needs to start work immediately. That's what the statement from the Nigerian Football Federation said.
Okay.
The money is available for him. The presidential, you know, President Tinubu is very passionate about the game. If you can give houses and money to people who play the second fiddle, you can imagine what will happen if we pick a ticket to the World Cup and then go out there and win the CHAN. It will be a deep joy, and everybody knows. But for me, it's the dissonance in the message he has for the new Sports Commission and the fact that the spearhead of our sports is not aligning with that message. We have to develop our sports economy, and that means that we have to provide for our home-based coaches, home-based facilities, everything we have to develop to a standard where we can just be rolling and getting the results. That's the message. If they don't understand it, perhaps that's my own appreciation of it. Okay.
You started by saying football is very important to Nigerians. One of those things that we are all excited about. But let me ask you, it's a new year. This is just about, we're just about to enter the second week. What will you say is the outlook for sports, for football, which is your own area, in the year 2025? And what do you think should be the priorities for NFF, NSC, and the Nigerian government generally? What do you project will be the main highlights of the year?
Let me keep it simple because we have a loaded calendar for 2025. Starting, of course, with the CHAN in February. There is the Women's Nations Cup in July in Morocco. Morocco will be hosting it back-to-back. There is, of course, the Under-17 World Cup in Morocco again. In the Under-17 World Cup. They hosted the last one. Nigeria will be there. And of course, we have the AFCON in December, the winter AFCON, again in Morocco. That tells you about the power of sports and tourism.
Hello? Hello? We seem to have connection problems with Mitchel Obi there, but he was just going to talk about the outlook for 2025 and the events out there in football. Well, I understand we have re-established audio connection and visual connection with Mitchel Obi. Mitchel Obi, good to have you back on the program. If you may just summarize what you were saying about the outlook for 2025. Hello?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. It's good we can get to make this Sunday exciting. I said it's a loaded year for Nigeria football-wise, both men and women. And Morocco seems to be the destination point for our under-17, for the women, and for the men later in the year in December. But more than anything else, we need to emphasize our league. The Nigerian Professional Football League should be our focus. Let's get it right. Once we get it right, then we can add other things to it. That is the simple message. And those who want to manage our football should start from the Nigerian Professional Football League. And for us, that is the big baby. A baby that is still in its nappies after 35 years, but we need to land it well and give it the excitement that is necessary. And that means bringing back the glamour of our Challenge Cup, the one they call the President's Federations Cup, and then, of course, adding the youth football. Let's see how NFF redynamize their vision, if they have a vision, actually. Let's see whether that vision can be tuned homewards. And that's how far I think we can keep it simple. But 2025 is loaded, starting, of course, with cricket. January 18, our young girls will be in Malaysia for the cricket T19 World Cup, that ICC T19 World Cup. Nigeria, for the first time, is taking part in a cricket World Cup at any level. And that tells you about the future of what our youths can do. If we treat them well, put the right things in the right places, our sport will be exalted.
Well, thank you very much, Mitchel Obi, President, International Sports Press Association, AIPS, and Chairman, Vice Chairman of the Master Sports International Limited, for joining us on this Live, this Sunday Talk Show today.